Do you know what? The first time I had imposter syndrome, I literally broke down. I think, where was I? I was in Central, and I was like, this is weird because this is not me. Because I've spent like a lot of my life just training myself to kind of like not care what people think. And that started in like secondary school because everyone hated me. So I was like, I just got to accept this and be like, I don't care. And I literally told myself I don't care. And so I feel like the words that you speak become true. So literally I didn't care. So whether you hated me or not, whether you accepted what I did, I didn't care. So the fact that that happened, and then obviously learning to be confident, to be bold in myself, learning that I'm saucy, but other people are saucy as well.
Love
and it's
that.
just like, that day, I was just like, this ain't me. What the hell is going on? This is what people mean. Because I struggled with depression in first year of uni, but I didn't know it was depression. I was just like, oh my gosh, I just fall down all the time. And my sister struggles with anxiety, and I could never relate. I was like, how can you be anxious? Like, how can you be anxious? It's weird. So then when I started feeling those things, I was like, oh, this is how people feel. So it was really weird, but it's just like, for me, it's just, I've always, because I'm the oldest as well, I have that mentality. So you just have to push yourself through, because
I think it's a Nigerian mentality as well.
It's a Nigerian mentality, and yeah, like, it's just, you can't, I don't allow myself to feel, I don't allow myself to think. So I'm always a doer more than a thinker.
It's that thing of it, this detaching your emotions from your thought process. I think, did I say it properly? Yeah, one of the two. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like not letting your emotions dictate the things that I know what I'm trying to say. Yeah.
So it's just like, when people say, oh, I feel like I can't do that whole thought process, I can't allow myself to do it. So as soon as I think of an idea, I'm doing it. And that's because if I sit and marinate in it, I'm not going to do it.
And then the seed of doubt starts to grow, and then you start to think, oh, this isn't going to work.
This person does it, but I ain't got time for that. So it's like, I've always trained myself to just do it. And sometimes it's bad because I don't know if it's bad. it's worked a lot for me. But sometimes I feel like I do need to step back and chill. Actually, it is bad because I used to say loads of stuff without thinking.
But I guess that's just part of growing up, isn't it?
Yeah, it is part of growing up. But now I'm more like, I don't think too much, but I don't just do stuff on impulse. So I've changed a little bit. But
do you know, it's a good thing that you mentioned that, because like, one of the reasons that I really wanted to get you on today, and one of the things that I really wanted to speak about, was you did a video last year with Nissy T that really resonated with me. And I don't think you realised just how impactful that was.
Oh my gosh.
So it was a video about, and it's something that a lot of people go through actually. So like life after uni.
Oh my God.
Yeah, you see? Life after uni, yeah. So like, at the time of us filming and recording this, it's like graduation season, isn't it? And obviously I'm not trying to put a damper on anything, because graduating is not easy, going through uni, especially the money,
no matter
like,
what
moving
mark
from
you
home.
get,
do you know what I mean?
You survive.
It's a life lesson, do you know what I mean? And people will look back and be like, rah, I actually left home. Or even if you stayed at home, you went through that whole process of like learning yourself. But one of the things that you spoke about really vividly was about, you know, just not getting work and just being unemployed and then being at home. And one of the reasons why I resonated, because I was in work, but then like due to contracts, I left. And then for 6 months, I did nothing.
That's exactly what happened to me.
I had no job. I was at home. It was winter. Like,
it was winter. See, winter gets
oh my days. So like, I realized, like, I was reading up on this, and like, I think it's a taboo thing to talk about, especially in the Nigerian community, but seasonal affective disorder.
Yeah.
So like, when it's like, it's sunny now, like my mood is amazing. I went to Marrakesh. Life was great.
Popping.
But then when it got to December, like last year, I was at home. I was like, I don't want to speak to anyone. I don't want to be on social media. Like, it got to the stage I didn't even want to speak to my family. I just stayed in my room. I want to talk about your experience. So what was that you went through at that particular moment in time?
With depression?
Just no, in terms of like, you know, graduating from uni, and then, okay, cool, like, I'm in the big bad world. How do I now navigate in this space and actually find what it is that I want to do?
Yeah. So luckily, I actually came out of uni and I went straight into work. So I work in television production. So I went into the post-production bit where it's editing. I was like, yeah, I'm going to be the black woman in editing, because there was no black women. And then I realized I really hated it. And you know, when you think something is like your dream and your purpose and this is what you're meant to do, and everything in life then is telling you narcissist. Like, I went into work crying because Not gonna lie, it's a very white dominated industry.
So what would you say, because of who you are and like the type of person that you, the experiences that you've had, and obviously your skin color, you felt that being in that sort of environment didn't necessarily help your development?
I wouldn't say that, but going back to uni, I always said I realized I was black when I went into uni, and I think people think it's weird that I say that, because when I was in London, I didn't know I was black. Like no one really. You
don't really notice it. Like
I didn't notice it. Like obviously, we're all colors and stuff like that, all colors, but it's just like when I got into uni, it's just that's when I realized my color actually affects where I'm going, what people think of me.
We could have gone to the same uni, you know. I applied for Bournemouth, but I just didn't go.
Bournemouth was lit.
Yeah.
And I'm very grateful for my experience, because it taught me so much. And coming out of uni and going into post-production and seeing the favoritism and working 10 times harder than everyone else and not getting the promotion and then leaving and crying, and it was a lot. And I was just like, wait, they did not tell me this is what's going to happen. So I started working at a phone shop 3.
Yeah.
And I was like selling the phones, and I was like,
so wait, how long were you in post-production for then?
I was there, I think I was there for like 4 or 5 months.
Okay.
But I wanted to quit every day.
Seriously?
I wanted to quit every day. And it was a 24-hour house, so you do night shifts. Like, it was hell.
Serious?
It was hell.
Is that what they do in TV? Night shifts?
In post-production.
Oh, okay, thank the Lord I ain't done that yet, boy.
But like stuff like Towie.
Okay, that makes sense.
So
that makes sense.
When they would film, they would bring the rushes, and I just didn't feel comfortable. There was just so much going on. But I'm really grateful for that production house as well, because it just made me open my eyes and actually knuckle down and just be like, where do I actually want to go? Because I feel like you should always explore. Like, you should always, don't limit yourself to just one thing. Like, I've done the editorial, I've done location, I've done, so I know everything about everything to do with production. But now I know the route I want to go. So it's like, okay, so I want to be a producer, I want to go into editorial. What's the route? Asking the right questions, connecting with people. And post-production actually helped me connect with so many people, because everyone is in the same house editing, like every production you can think of, and I had access to everyone as a runner
on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, and I didn't see, like, I always say being a runner is like the best thing you can do, because you're actually talking to everyone.
Yeah.
Because as soon as I became a researcher, I'm sat there just doing my thing. I'm not talking to anyone. I'm seeing the runners go, I'm like, do you need help? And then I'm like, wait, that's not my role anymore.
Yeah.
So it's just like, yeah, man, that time was just, no one prepared me for that. Like,
why do you think that is though? Because like, loads of people go through it, but I feel like no one ever wants to speak about it. Why do you feel like, you know, you go through education, whether it be primary school, secondary school, college, you go to uni, whether you go to uni or not, and then boom, like nothing just seems to go to plan?
Because everyone makes you feel like you should have your life together as soon as you come out of uni. And I feel like we need to take all those expectations away and just be a bit realistic. Like, people will come out and be like, oh, my day's got my graduation jewel, blah, blah, blah. but then everyone, because you're seeing that, you're like, oh, raw, like.
It's like societal pressures, innit? Yeah.
I can't tell people I ain't got a job.
Yeah.
I can't tell people I flopped, or I can't tell people I didn't get my grades, like what? Because it's like everyone's tweeting, oh, my day's happy moments. Because even like everyone just graduated now, I'm just seeing the happy moments. No one is spoken about.
That's the thing.
So when you're seeing that, to interject that negativity, even though it's kind of like it's needed, it's just like, can I really?
I think that's just social media though, because I feel like with social media, one of the things that I always say is like, it's a highlight reel, innit? People are always going to show their best moments. No one's going to show when they're up at 3 a.m. editing a video or writing a script. People are always going to show the nice glossy images, and it's like, it's not a true representation.
Yeah.
And like, a lot of young people are very impressionable. So like, if you're growing up in an era where you have Snapchat, like we didn't have that growing up, even though like we're still of this generation.
Yeah.
Like, I remember like still tuning into CBBC at a specific time to watch a specific,
running home.
do you know what I mean? I remember like cassettes and like MP3s.
Yeah.
So like, we grew up in a different era, but like, let's say there's young people growing up now, they see all their peers or like the people around them doing great things, and then they look at it and they're like, so wait, what am I doing?
Yeah.
And then that plants that seed of, oh, I need to be doing
behind,
this.
Yeah.
And especially in black men as well, like, I'm thankful that I've got the family that I've got, but when it comes to like pressures to have like money, and like, I don't drive right now, but there was a point where I was like, but I need to be driving a German, you know, I need to have my money up. But then I'm thinking, but who am I actually doing it for? Am I doing it for myself, or am I doing it to impress people, or am I giving other people's opinions more weight than my own? Do you know what I mean? And I feel like we need to find a way to just go back to just thinking for ourselves and not trying to impress other people.
Yeah.
Because I think that's what is the root of a lot of people's unhappiness.
Yeah. Because nowadays on Twitter, you see, just got my dream job, or happy to announce. And it's just like, someone tweeted that today and I was like, bro, like, people actually... So what about the people that are not doing well, haven't had a job? Like, they're seeing this and they're probably thinking, rah, my life is crap. And it can be hard. And that's me. I always try to not portray that on social media. Like, if you see like my captions on Instagram, I always try and like show my life lesson or something that I have been through. And I always tell people my mom hates it. Like, my mom watches my YouTube, which is so annoying because she just picks it apart. She's like, why are you telling people you're struggling? I'm like, because you know, Africans, all they care about is
evil eye and
not even evil eye, just showing that we were doing well, even when we're not doing well. And I always tell my mom, like, my mom hates it when I say I don't care, because I tell her all the time, I don't give a crap. She's like, how can you not care? How can you
I'm
not
screaming
care?
the
Like,
accent.
She's
Yeah.
like, how can you not care what people think? I'm like, because it's just like, if I do that, I will die. I promise you this now, I will die, because I have so many people around me who are doing well. If I had that mentality, instead, I always use my friends as like inspiration. But if I was someone who always compared myself, I literally died, because they're doing big things. And I still have my journey where I'm still trying to get to where I'm going. But it's just like, it's literally a mentality they have is, we got to do this for show. Going to the Nigerian parties and spending all this money that we don't have, even though we're struggling at home. Like, even when the eviction thing happened to me, people messaged me and I was like, like, I didn't know that happened to people. I just thought it was me, but everyone was like, no, I got evicted from my house. Our parents didn't have money, blah, blah, blah. It's just like, in a Nigerian society,
you keep that to
yourself. Shiny jewelry.
Because you like to do image. That's the thing. Like, Nigerians like to do image.
And my mum hates the fact that I rebel against that. She doesn't understand it, because that's just the way she was. That's just her culture and what she's been brought into. And I'm grateful that I've been able to like kind of like take myself away from that, because it is a very dangerous thing. And it's just like, when people are doing well, use that as inspiration.
100%.
Mariam, Mariam Musa.
Okay, yeah.
I know Mariam, so that whole breakup thing,
brother,
I literally look at it and I'm like, fam, you turned something that could have broken you into something amazing. And I just look at it and I'm like, you're so amazing. And I use that as inspiration. Okay, what's the next move for me? Or this is possible, or I can do this as well. Not oh my gosh, I'm jealous, she just bought everything.
Yeah,
like,
people,
it's so easy to get into that mentality of just comparing yourself, but use your friends as inspiration. And I'm so grateful for the people that surround me. So do you know what, like, hearing you speak as well, you speak with like a lot of conviction and like a lot of like zeal. So like, I want to know like, where, like, how do I phrase this? Where did that come from? Because like, it's not a thing that a lot of people have. Like, a lot of people don't have the confidence you have, and a lot of people don't speak with such authority like you have. Where would you say, what was the moment that came to you, or like you just knew that you had something bigger than what you actually are? It's so funny, because in secondary school, you would have hated me.
Oh, seriously?
Why'd
you say that?
I was a nasty person. Like, I always was chatting rubbish about people. I felt like I was fighting myself, and I felt like the world owed me something. And I think when I got into college, I literally just don't know what happened. Maybe the Holy Spirit slapped me, because I literally was just like, I need to be the best version that I can be. I can't be angry at anyone. And that's when self-reflection started happening. Like, I started reading more. I started watching more motivational stuff. And it was kind of like the stuff that I was filling myself up with. And just nowadays, I block everyone on Twitter. If you tweet anything that's disgusting, but I'll block you. And when I'm famous, you'll probably go on my Twitter and be like, that girl blocked me, but I don't know her. Because you tweeted something stupid. And it's just like, I honestly don't know. Like, I always say it's God, because I knew he changed me because I have a bigger purpose. I have something better that's like coming. But it's nothing to do with me. It was literally him. Like, it was him, and just because obviously I grew up in church. I grew up in KNS, so white garments.
Wait, hold up. Seriously?
Yeah, I grew up in KNS.
I grew up in KNS.
I did not like that church.
Okay, this is not how I anticipated the conversation going, but we're here now. Let's get more drink. So wait, hold on. I'm interested to know about that, because obviously you speak a lot about faith on your channel as well. So like, talk to me about that experience and going to a CNS church and without obviously triggering yourself?
Yeah. I mean, I just didn't understand what they was talking about. And I wanted to know God. I was like, oh, who's this amazing guy that they're talking about that could do so many amazing things for you and fills you up with love for no reason. And it's just like, I would ask questions and they didn't like the fact that I was questioning them. So I'm like, okay, the Bible says we can't have tattoos. Why do you not have like massive crosses on your back? And it was stuff that suited. I always feel like that type of church is based on culture and not God.
Okay.
That's what I personally believe.
Yeah.
Because everything, it's just I can't explain.
I know what you're trying to say. Yeah. So
It's just basically culture. It's what Nigerian culture tells you to do and what you can't do, and then they try and say the Bible says this, and I would say bring a scripture that says that. Even when I say that to my mom.
So you're one of those kids that used to always like have evidence or have something
I want,
if someone says something, you've got something to bite back with straight away.
Honestly, because my mom will always be like, "Oh, honor your parents," but I'm like, "What's the scripture before that?" Because it tells you what you should do to your children. My mom will never ever tell me.
It's selective,
I don't
innit?
even think she knows it.
It's selective hearing and selective information, innit?
Selective information and picking the parts that you want. Even as natural like humans, we do that all the time. But I really feel like that church was just. So then I feel like I went on a journey in college where I got to Hillsong, and then I was like, oh my days, I really love this church. Like I felt like I was at home, and I really went on a journey of just understanding who Christ is and understanding that it's not do's and don'ts, because there was a period where it was like do's and don'ts for me, and I was like, I'm losing my mind because I'm a bold person. I love fashion, and those are the things religion and people tell you can't be a part of. And it's just like, even like as a creative, and I always say that Christians, the church doesn't understand creatives. I've always said that.
Elaborate.
So like, for me, they'll always question my work, or like if I have a shoot on Sundays, it's just like, oh my days, why are you not in church? It's like, always come to church. And I'm like, you know how much power we have in us to be more than just the church and the four walls that we're in. Like, you should be encouraging me to use my creativity and use what the gifts that God has given me to be bolder. Even if I miss church on Sundays, that should not be, oh, no, you're backsliding.
I think a lot of the time
backsliding now.
I think a lot of the time is, not that it's a generational thing, but sometimes they see it as like, you must go to church in order to have a relationship with God. And then that Sunday morning ritual of waking up, going to church, doing the praise and worship, praying, blah, 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 and then going home, you've done you fulfilled your duty as a Christian, where it's 7 days a week, 24/7, and like,
and get a normal job.
Do you know what I mean?
You don't get into temptation, but temptation is everywhere.
100.
And I always say, if you shine a light in one direction, how is everyone else going to see Christ?
Woo.
For real. If we're only like, if I'm doing childcare, which is safe apparently. Yeah. Like, okay, they're seeing the light of Christ in me, but yet Hollywood is still in darkness. That's why I love someone like Devon Franklin. I love him so much. I've read his books, and it's just like the way he was able to navigate his way into Hollywood. Even Tyler Perry, I discovered that he was a Christian. I was like, oh my gosh, it makes sense why a lot of Medea stuff, she'll speak about the Bible, but in a comical way that you wouldn't even, it's dropping those words and those gems in
and you never know where you're going to be placed and how you're going to be used. I was even watching Big Up 90s Baby. I remember I was watching
Big Up Random.
Tom Mucci's one.
Yeah.
And I was watching it, I was like, rah, like I felt really motivated the way that he was speaking about how he found Christ, and then how, I think the prayer was, if this is really for me. I can't remember what he said, but like I watched it and I felt quite moved, do you know what I mean? Because it's like, you can be in certain spaces and still kind of like let people know about your faith. You can still let people know that God's working. And I feel like maybe there's a disconnect between parents and this generation, because they've come from a different country, they've come from a different way of life, and it's like, even though they've adapted and assimilated, they just don't understand the pressures that we face.
I don't think they've adapted.
Do you reckon?
Nah.
Go on.
I literally told my mom, like, I said...
You've got opinions for days.
Oh my gosh, me and my mom had discussions and debates. It's just like, I'm like, you know, like she always used to tell me when I was younger, you're not white. And I said, I understand that. But if you're going to come into an environment, you have to kind of adapt, but also add yourself into it. So I feel like my mom, not even just my mom, like African parents, the ones that I've been around, it's just like, we do it this way and this way only, instead of why I love my dad so much is he's so understanding and he's so ready to learn about the, because he'll talk to me and he's like, yeah, but you guys do it this way. I'm like, oh, Dad, you know about that? And he's like, yeah, because he's so open to just learning about stuff, whereas my mum is just like, no. And it's just like, you see the difference.
How do you think we can break that though? Because
there's only so much. I feel like we have to set the
We're going to be that generation.
We're going to be that generation. It's just like, you cannot make people do things. You cannot make people understand. You can advise them, you can tell them, you can give them the knowledge and just leave it as that.
Fair dues.
Because I feel like from what conversations with like my friends, the chats that they have with their parents, sometimes I see similarities, but I feel like we've done our bit. Let's just pave the way for our children.
But you know what? It's so mad, yeah, because like now, considering, especially as like first generation children in this country,
and that's mad. We forget that.
Consider, especially specifically Africans as well, because like the Caribbeans have been here a lot longer than us. The fact that a lot of the first generations are achieving such high quality in their own field, not that it scares me, but it amazes me, you know, because it's like, what?
These
like,
are all the things they told us we couldn't do.
We couldn't do. Like, when you look at the charts, you see like a lot of African people in there, even in like law or different sectors, you see like a lot of high achievers, you know what I mean? And so like when we start having children, and then they like, listen, we're here to stay, you know? And I feel like, not the powers that be, but I feel like people fear us because of our resilience and like our natural given talent as well. Like, we just have this go-get attitude that, unfortunately, some people who aren't black don't necessarily have that same mentality because things can be handed to them on a plate, or, you know, they know someone that knows someone.
They're allowed to be mediocre.
You know, oh my gosh, preach on it, because there's that thing of being Nigerian, not even just Nigerian, but like working twice as hard as everyone else. And like,
but I feel like Nigerians are special though, can't
it used to frustrate, we are. But then, you know, there's a couple of non-Nigerians in this place who are looking right now thinking, what's going on behind the cameras? That's another thing as well, yeah. Why do you feel like people hate on Nigerians? Because I see it a lot, you know.
There's something in our blood, yeah.
I see it a lot.
I feel like God made Africans, and then God especially took time on Nigerians and said, you lot are going to go across the world, be in so many different places, and no matter where you go, you're going to prosper.
Amen. Amen. People in the background, we saying amen? We co-signing that? We co-signing that?
Everybody say yeah.
Everybody say yeah. I'm going to lose it. Another thing I want to speak about, because obviously we haven't actually mentioned who you are. So, who is, first of all, your name? Because that is the most un-Nigerian name I've ever heard. Yeah. Teeyana. You get that a lot, don't you, innit?
Everyone thinks I'm Jamaican.
I thought you were Jamaican.
No. Fully Nigerian.
Serious? So wait, Tiana's the government name, or is there like another like?
It's my government
Oluwa
name.
Something.
And my Nigerian name is Oyin.
Okay, honey. Okay, so where did Teeyana come from? What does it mean?
Ask my mum.
Cool. Auntie, we're going to get you on the podcast next. I'm screaming. So who is Teeyana and what does Teeyana do then?
Oh my gosh, this is so hard to sum because I do so much.
I hate that question myself, because whenever anybody asks me that question, I'm like, I'm just out here, like, I'm just living my life. I'm out here, baby. Hot girl summer. Not for me though. I'll tap Meg the Stallion.
Hot boy.
Oh, stop it, man. I'm blushing.
You're
can't
hot boy. Drip, drip, drip all day.
Drip is their talent. I'm screaming.
But, yeah, because I do so much, and sometimes I try and like refrain it back. I'm like, okay, Teeyana, focus on one thing, but I really can't focus on one thing. So I'm a manager in television production. So I've been in TV collectively for like 3 years now. Obviously, I took a little break. I'm also a content creator, so I do content for like brands on Instagram. So like those adverts you see in between stories, I create them for certain brands, and I can just create content in general.
Yeah.
Then I'm a YouTuber.
Would you call yourself an influencer, by the way? No.
But I've been labelled that before, and I'm just like...
Does that make you uncomfortable? Because I see like influencers get a lot of stick online.
Yeah, because people are haters.
Why is that?
People are jealous of influencers.
Oh, serious?
People are jealous of influencers.
Elaborate.
Because I've seen people try, like, there was a period where everyone came on YouTube and everyone wasn't getting the same reception. It's like, oh, damn, shit, we thought it was going to be easy. So then I feel like people, when you look at someone, you're like, this looks so easy. How are you like killing it? People start hating. So like, how are you getting free stuff? How are you influencing people? How are you telling people to buy stuff and they do it? I feel like people really hate that, because it's something that's so simple that everyone can tap into, but only a certain amount of people have like mastered it. So I feel like people really hate influencers because they're like, oh, Because if you could be an influencer, you would.
Everybody wants to be an influencer. Everybody wants to do #ad, #swipe up, the rest of it. Do you know what I mean?
These times, #get commission, but these times no one buying from you.
I'm screaming.
So it's just like, I feel like there is a jealousy behind it. There's nothing else, because influencers are not affecting my life. If I look at something, I shop from influencers. Like, I would rather look at someone who I can relate to than that Fashion Nova model that is, her body is just like not the same as mine.
So I don't think you're gonna get a Fashion Nova deal anytime soon.
I don't want it. I hate that brand.
I swear.
I can't lie. I hate that brand.
I'm screaming.
But yeah, I don't understand that. I don't. What the hell is wrong with?
It goes back to that social media thing though. Go on.
My friend said, "What you eat don't make me shit. So why should I be affected?"
Wait, sorry, say that again.
So what you eat don't make me shit.
Okay, that reminds me of another one. I can't take paracetamol for someone else's headache.
Yeah,
I love that phrase so much.
So it's just like, why should I stress myself? I feel like people like proper emphasize on social media. We hate influencers, but yet you're watching them secretly. Don't lie.
100%, because these people are getting views, they're getting likes. You see their comments, you see people are engaging with them as well. But another thing as well, what I realized, you tweeted the other day that you want to come off YouTube.
Oh.
And I wanted to know why.
Because obviously you've been for that.
You've been doing YouTube since like 2014 times. And what would you say? What would you say was the thought process behind you thinking, okay, cool, I might call it a day?
I just feel like I'll just stress that.
Yeah.
I can't personally give up on stuff. And it's really, I have tried to give up on YouTube so many times. And I had that 3-month break. And I was like, yeah, just going to chill. But I love creating content so much. Like, whether it's my content or whatever content, it's in my blood. So I was just like, I'm going to just come off YouTube. I hate it, but I don't hate it. It's just me. I'm really frustrated now because obviously doing TV, being a manager, I never knew that everyone needs me. As soon as I'm in, like, my emails are always.
But that's a big like position. Like, you're 25, right?
Yeah.
And for you to be a manager at like a TV production company, and like to be able to have all that responsibility, but like for you as a black woman as well to be in that position is really, really admirable. And I proper commend you for it, because like a lot of young people might listen to this, watch your content, or know who you are, might think like, right, if Teeyana can do it, then I can do it. And do you ever feel like, not a burden responsibility, but do you feel like, okay, cool, the things that I do, people are watching and someone might potentially be inspired by this?
I do, but then I'm just like, the engagement isn't telling me that. And I'm on 10K and that's calm for me. Like, I'm happy. But it's just
YouTube 10K?
Yeah. So it's just like, now my focus right now is just engaging with people. I really want to know if this is affecting people. And sometimes I get emails and I'm like, rah, I didn't know, I've probably never seen your name, but you'll be telling me everything. I'm just like, I've never seen you interact before. So I just want to have that relationship with my audience now instead of just being there. So it's just, that was kind of like frustrating me. It's just like, I want to, where's the engagement? The engagement is important now, and that's the thing. Sometimes I feel like it's just talking to the people that are watching. But
do you not feel like with the content that you put out, regardless of people posting comments or liking stuff, even if like the video is good, and let's say it got 1 view, do you not still feel like, nah, somebody is gonna feel something from watching this? Or is it just like,
do you know what, I really don't like when people say, oh, if it touched one life, I'm happy. I'm not happy, because why do I want to touch one life? I want to touch everyone.
Fair enough.
And that's me being real. Like, I'm not gonna say, oh yeah, if that had 1 view and that person wants, like, okay, that's amazing, that is great, but I want to touch everyone's. I want to be global. That is the plan.
Amen.
That is the plan. I want to be global, not just in YouTube and the production side and everything that I'm planning to do. It has to be global. So sometimes I just get a little bit frustrated. I'm just like, it's sometimes the silence. When there's silence, you're just like, oh, and you start your mind.
Yeah, your mind plays tricks on you. Yeah,
starts playing tricks on you. And I think when it comes to YouTube, that's when I think. That's when I'm actually sitting in my mind and I'm thinking about stuff.
Dwelling on it, yeah.
Not even dwelling on it. It's just like, how do people perceive this? And obviously, as a Christian, I go out a lot, so people are just like, oh, like, you go out, or
you tweet about cheeks quite a lot.
I do.
It seems to be your favorite word. Shaking cheeks.
Shaking cheeks.
Hot girl summer.
Hot girl summer. But for me,
by the way, before we continue, what can I get a definitive definition of hot girl summer? Because I don't actually know what it means.
Hot girl summer.
I just want to say that I love Meg.
It's whatever you want to. It's whoever you want to be. Whatever you want to be. That could be Christian girls can be hot girls.
Amen.
Like, if you're happy in Christ, celibate, that's a hot girl. That is whatever you want it to be. For me, it's me just being Teeyana and just being the light that I am in whoever's life. Just not caring what people think. Just chilling.
I like that though, because like a lot of people just don't have that positivity.
Yeah.
A lot of people are afraid to speak out with such confidence, and it frustrates me because it's a thing that used to bug me for a very long time. And I remember people used to be like, "Ore, you're so vain. You're so full of yourself. You're so arrogant." I remember specifically, I was in year 9. Someone said to me, "The way that you walk is cocky," and I said, "What does that even mean?"
And people don't like that.
But people were projecting onto me, and like it used to really, really bug me because I was like, wait, is there something wrong with me? Am I giving out an energy? But then after I was like, you know what, yeah, I genuinely don't care.
Yeah.
Like I can't come and kill myself.
Yeah.
Burna Boy said it right. Like I can't come and kill myself because of anyone. And then the fact that like you're like that as well. I like the fact that you don't shy away from that. And because especially with black women, for some reason, society tells you lot that, you know, you need to behave in a certain way, or like even when I take it back to Yewande on Love Island, like people try and box black women into a particular box, and you must be like this.
Yeah.
And it's like, I like the fact that a lot of I'm not gonna call you an influencer, a lot of content creators,
I accept it, you know, in the name of Jesus.
You know what, man? But it is influence. That's the thing. Like, I feel like people have tarnished the word.
Yeah.
Because if you're influencing
and the
someone,
word clout, because if you actually look in a dictionary, I'm just like,
is clout an actual word?
yeah, it's actually.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Is there a definition for it?
Yeah.
Can somebody get up a definition for the word clout, please? I'm curious to.
I had to.
It's an actual word. I thought it was just like a word made by black people. Am I really showing myself up right now?
You are,
I'm actually screaming.
Yeah.
I'm screaming.
He's
Okay, cool.
disappointed.
He's disappointed. While he gets the definition for the word clout up, before we go, I want to talk about purpose, right? What would you say purpose means to Teeyana Aromi? I know, deep question, right?
Ooh.
You can take your time. It's all good.
Do you know what? I feel like purpose. I think someone said it. It's like something you can't. Oh, this is hard. And I think I think you understand your purpose when you're trying to run from something, but it keeps it keeps pulling you in. Like no matter where you go, there's always this one thing that shows up, and you're like, "Rah!" It's something you might not even want to do, but it keeps coming up, and you got life. And I don't know. It could be maybe I don't know what it could be, but because everyone's purpose is different. But there's always this one thing that keeps showing up, and I feel like. I don't know. I can't really explain it because I'm still trying to figure out my purpose. I feel like that I do have a purpose in television, and the way God has aligned my steps in TV, you cannot tell me I'm not meant to be there.
100%.
But I cannot tell you why I'm there, and I feel like
it's still like a learning process.
It's still a learning process for me. But I feel like when you kind of like get there, or you finish the job that God has placed you here to do, that's when you'll know. So like even like the thing with Nipsey. I feel like he fulfilled his purpose, and that because I think there's somewhere in the Bible where it says, "When you fulfill your purpose, that's when you'll go." So he did what he needed to do, and he may have not known. I don't know if.
But you can see the impact of it.
But you see the impact what he was doing had on so many people, and he may have not even realized that. So I don't feel like when people are chasing purpose and things like that, I really just feel like just pray for guidance and pray that you're on the right track. And then everything will kind of like glue together.
Align itself, yeah.
And that's why you have to be still sometimes, and you have to be reflective, because if there's so much going on and there's so much noise, you will miss your purpose. You'll miss what is going on. You'll miss God speaking to you in so many different ways through so many people, through so many things. There's simple things that you won't even catch, but it's just like it's speaking to you. So it's just like I've noticed certain things that are like little drops God is putting there, but there's still a long way.
You've got great energy, man.
Thank
really
you.
good
So
energy.
do you,
like
man.
even I didn't anticipate the conversation going in this direction, but like, I feel like invigorated. I feel like I'm good to go,
Thank
man.
you.
So wait,
Thank
before we
you.
go as well, what advice would you give to your younger self? If you were age 10 right now, looking at 25-year-old Teeyana, what advice would you give to yourself? Another deep one, I know. I love a deep question.
Oh my gosh, I've got to think about this.
We got the definition for clout up yet?
Yes, when you speak of someone having clout, it usually means they communicate a sense of power and influence, particularly in a political sense.
They communicate a sense of power and influence.
The power and influence. So when people are saying, "Oh, you're chasing clout,"
Yeah. Man,
So people have
didn't
made
know
clout
that,
a bad word, but it's actually not a bad
You
word.
got Cardi B and Offset doing anything
Do
for
anything
clout.
for
I'm
clout.
screaming.
Do anything for
I'm
clout.
absolutely
So
screaming.
yeah, it's been said negative, but clout is actually not a bad thing.
Damn. Okay, I'm gonna be using it in the actual right context from now on.
Thank God.
But back to 10-year-old Teeyana. What advice would you give yourself, or what kind of tips would you give yourself looking back?
Don't be so angry.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was fueled with
I want to
so
know what
much
you were up to because
anger.
you seem like you've gone through a 360
I've been
in personality.
always been a rebel.
Yeah.
Can't lie. Still a rebel, but a rebel in a good way.
Mm-hmm.
So I would tell myself to just channel that energy into my work, because I always feel like I wish I did, like, I picked up on like ballet and random stuff, but I was busy just being a busybody. Now I go out and it's just like, it's more purposeful. So my going out is me telling people, oh, go to this place, because I feel like I've kind of like noticed where the direction of my content now is, like places to go, because people always ask me, where are you at? On my days, you're the plug, you know these spots. I'm just like,
You're just out here, innit?
I'm just out here. So it's like, it's now a positive thing, but back then it was for no reason. So it's just like channeling that energy into finding yourself, not being so angry at the world, and understanding that the world does not owe you anything. And that's it.
Amazing. I feel that's a perfect way to end. Well, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
I appreciate you, man. Plug your socials, plug all your stuff.
You can find me at.
This is the YouTuber Teeyana coming out.
My gosh. Find me at Teeyana Aromi on everything. That is TeeyanaAromi.
Amazing. Thank you.
And make sure you like, subscribe, because he didn't want to do this. Make sure you like, subscribe, follow, press that notification button so you never miss another.
Cream your ankles. Word to Mo the comedian. Do you remember how we met, by the way? I remember. So it's a funny story as well. You're gonna laugh.
How did we meet?
So I remember, it was just after I started doing Small Talk.
Yeah.
And then obviously I had Nella on, and my sister went to the church that you used to go to, right? And I remember you were singing in choir. Oh, I can't believe I'm about to admit this, This is a mad... Yeah. So I remember what happened was... am I really going to admit this? All right, cool. So what happened was, I've gone to church with my sister now. And obviously, I'm there for God. And I see one girl in the choir. I was like, Rah, who's that? And like, you're singing and everything. I was like, Rah, she's all right, But in my head, I'm thinking, all right, relax. You're definitely in church, innit? And then I was thinking, all right, cool. Do you know the point in the service? It was like, oh, go say hi to someone. Say hello to your neighbours. So I was thinking, right, I might use that as my move to just But then you were sat at the other side, so I thought, let me allow it, yeah. Anyway, I believe in the law of attraction, by the way. So service is done now. I'm just chilling because I don't really know anyone.
Yeah.
Like, I knew a couple people, but I was just standing with my sister. Bruv, you walked in my direction. You walked towards me. I was thinking, she's talking to someone behind me, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And you were like, hi, my name's Teeyana. I watched your video. I said,
Oh, yeah.
I said, pardon?
I still go to that church, by the way.
And I thought okay, my bad. And then
I don't know why everyone thinks I've left church. I'm actually still at that church.
I don't know, because I told you I pay attention to everything. So you said something about leaving the church.
But
So I just assumed.
someone did that in my comments as well, and I was thinking, why does everyone think I've left my church?
Does that bug you, by the way, comments or like when people leave negative stuff?
Nah.
Yeah.
Nah. I think I even put something in. Seeking approval, something about seeking approval, and some girl said, well, no, the Bible says. And I said, okay, sis.
And just left it at that. That's the thing. Okay is my favourite word in the world,
Okay.
If I feel someone's about to start an argument with me, I'll be like, okay.
Because they're not ready to listen.
I'm not going to give you the energy that you want.
They're not ready to have a conversation.
You're asking for it. You're dying.
You're asking for it.
Get off my back. Pooja, what is this behavior? Oh, I'm screaming. So I just don't give people the energy,
Yeah, because I saw you and I was like, oh my days. That's all right.
Yeah,
I like
man,
his
I had
videos.
a completely different motive.
Oh my gosh. You came in that big fur jacket as well. Did you come in? You came
Did I come in a big fur? I was
in
doing
brown.
the
I remember.
most. Doing the most. But then you came up to me and then like you made me follow your content there and there. And I rated that because like...
Did I?
It goes back to like... Because like I don't think I knew who you were at that time. Like your YouTube was popping because obviously I followed you at that time. I was like, rah, this girl's proper cool. And then ever since I followed you on socials. And like exactly how you are right now is exactly how you are on socials. And I like the fact that there's no disparity. Because sometimes you meet people and it's like, it's a bit anticlimactic, but you're very much...
There are some days I do not want to talk, but it's rare.
Yeah.
It's so rare.
But it's fine though. I feel like people are entitled to do that because I enjoy my own company so much. And I feel like people need to understand that being alone is actually fine.
Oh my gosh.
Because before I used to be like, oh my God, I need to have people around me. Because I've got 4 sisters and no brothers. So it's like, I was like, okay, cool. I can chill with my sisters, but at the same time, it's like, but I want to chat to guys, and I want to talk about football.
Something
you
that
know
you
what I
can
mean?
yeah.
So for a while, I was like, all right, I feel quite lonely, do you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
then I feel like that made me actually proper double down on myself and like figure out this is what I want to do, and I want to create this type of content. Or whenever I'm in a particular space, I want to have this sort of impact on people.
Yeah.
So I feel like being alone is never a bad thing. It just has
Never.
negative connotations for some reason.
Never. Oh my gosh, being alone is so amazing.
I love it, man. And I hate people. I think 95% of the human
It's so
population is
funny.
stupid.
I'm a people person, but I hate people.
Oh my God, we are the same person.
I hate
Because this is
people.
what I say all the
I
time.
hate people. Like, I love you, but I hate you.
And it doesn't make sense, but it makes perfect sense.
Because I'm a social butterfly. Like, I'm always around people, but sometimes I'm like, piss off.
Do you know what I mean? And people just
off.
tire me out. But yeah, we moved. Yeah, I just thought I'd tell you that funny story about when I first
That
saw
is
you.
hilarious.
But we
Oh my
move, man.
gosh.
We move. But yeah, thank you for coming once again.
Thanks for having me.
And we move.
Hacker or something.
Damn.
Oh my gosh.
That's the thing with talking sometimes. You don't even realise how far the conversation's gone.
No, that was
1:30.
That wasn't long.
That was alright. Because my thing is, I can talk